Hello, dear student. So today is something different or different type of presentation for my YouTube channel, and this is something related with the learning process. So as we all know, there are two subjects, that is oral histology and oral pathology, and most of the time students face difficulty in understanding these subjects because they don't, most of the time they don't understand the descriptions, and they cannot correlate the description mentioned in the textbook with the images, histological and histopathological images which they see under the microscope and which they read during studies. So if we use concept based learning in these two subjects, that is histopathology and oral histology, then it will be fun, and the students will understand this subject better and they will remember for a longer time. So it is a need of an hour in healthcare education curriculum. Rote learning is also mandatory because there are so many terminologies for every disease process and physiological process and so many signs and symptoms. So this is also mandatory. But learning through this rote learning, only through rote learning, might be volatile. Therefore, concept-based learning through logical reasoning, it's a good option, and this will enhance complete understanding of any disease process and physiological process also. So let us see few examples. I will mention few examples on both the subjects, oral histology and oral pathology both. I will not answer these, but let us see what are these questions, and we should think why. So whenever we study any topic in any subject, we should think of why. So this is an histological image, histopathological image of odontogenic keratocyst. Every odontogenic cyst has three components: lumen, uh, epithelial lining, and connective tissue capsule. So the question arises, why this cyst has corrugated epithelium? Why not other cyst has? So why only odontogenic keratocyst has corrugated epithelium? Second question. When we talk about incipient lesion, which is the initial phase of the dental caries, and clinically it is seen as white spot lesion on the surface, and when we take a section of this lesion and observe under polarized microscope, we see various areas or various zones of demineralization. The first demineralization starts at advancing front, the deeper aspect here, and then the demineralization proceeds towards the surface. So the question arises, when microbes are present on the surface, then why not demineralization starts from the surface? The lactic acid production is from top surface, but the demineralization is starting at the deeper front. Why? Next question. When we talk about premalignant lesions, histopathologically, these lesions shows dysplastic features. So this dysplasia is divided into various grades like mild, moderate, and severe. And the dysplastic feature, they always starts from the basal end. Okay, so mild dysplasia is lower 1/3 cell layer is dysplastic, moderate is 2/3 from basal cell layer, and severe is more than 2/3 towards the surface, and carcinoma in situ is entire epithelium and dysplastic. So the question arises, when the carcinogens in the form of tobacco, betel nut, they attack first the superficial surface, then why the epithelial dysplasia starts from the basal surface? Next question. There are two features of dentine. First is interglobular dentine and the next is Tomes granular layer. Both are the structures present in the dentine. Then why this interglobular dentine is present only in the crown surface, in the crown area, and Tomes granular layer is present only in the root area, when dentinal tubules are present throughout, right from the tip of the crown to the tip of the root. Then why interglobular dentine is present only in the crown area and Tomes granular layer is present only in the root area? Next question. When we talk about oral submucous fibrosis, which is a precancerous condition, so it has both epithelial changes and connective tissue changes. So it is caused by constant chewing of areca nut. So during this chewing process, it traumatizes the superficial, the epithelial surface. But the stromal changes are seen first and then epithelial dysplastic feature. Why? When the areca nut, it damages the surface epithelium first, then why the stromal changes are seen first always? Next, when we talk about lichen planus, there is change in the shape of a retipex. So they become sawtooth. Why sawtooth? Why they become pointed and thin and slender? Why not other shape? Why they become sawtooth? Next lesion is systemic lupus erythematosus. We know that this lesion is autoimmune blistering disease and it is characterized by the presence of butterfly shaped rash. So why this rash is butterfly shaped? Why not other shape? So it has two bilaterally symmetrical rashes on the cheek connected through the bridge of the nose. So why it is butterfly shape? Why not other shape? Next, as a dentist, we get biopsies of oral tissues, various lesions of the orofacial region. So when we examine, like suppose soft tissues or hard tissues, we see various components. Like suppose if we see a soft tissue, we see epithelium and connective tissue. And in the connective tissue, we get many components like blood vessels, adipose tissue, salivary gland, sometimes nerve tissue also, nerve bundles. So why do we see mostly such nerve bundles, and why not we see this neurons in the peripheral biopsies or in the jaw lesions? Next question is, when we talk about odontogenic keratocyst, it is called as odontogenic keratocyst because the lumen is filled with keratin. So why keratin is found only in odontogenic keratocyst? Why not in other cysts? So these are few questions. So like suppose whenever we read any topic in textbook, if we ask ourselves why for every topic, then it will be fun and interesting. So if you want to answer these questions, you put an answer in a chat box and let us have a good discussions. I'll come back later with the answers. Thank you.